Hello, welcome to the first video for 3DSMax. I'm going to be taking you through the basics today and hopefully get you a little bit more interested and sort of used to the actual interface itself, because what you're looking at here is 3DSMax and you've probably never used anything like this. It's a little bit daunting at first and will take quite a few lessons to get yourself used to it and probably years to master it as well, but we're going to make a start. We have to start somewhere. So what you've got here, this is the main screen, so you've got 4 viewports here, and you can tell what they are by looking at the actual little words up here. You've got things that say perspective, front, top and left, and they all might seem a little bit confusing at the moment, but they'll make a bit more sense once an object is in. And you've also got different modes here. This one says realistic, this one says wireframe, all this kind of stuff, and they can be changed. If I say this perspective one here, which kind of looks slightly 3D, if I click that, I can actually change what I want it to be. This can now be the top view. I can click it again, change to the right view. And what you'll also see is these little letters next to things, and get used to this because shortcuts are your friend. So we'll switch it back to perspective, and we'll think, ooh, what's happened here? That's fine, I'll tell you about this in a second, but we'll switch that back. Also here, so left, so the shortcut for left is L, I can hit F, and now that's changed to front. T for top, P for perspective, but I'll change that back to left again there. And again, same with each. Some of you may have noticed I slightly moved the screen then, and how you do that is if you hold down the middle mouse button, your little icon will change to a hand, and I can then drag things around. That's known as panning. So I can pan left, up, right, up and down diagonally, and it's a good way of getting around a scene, especially when you've got lots of objects in there. You can also zoom in and out. So if you roll your mouse wheel in, you zoom, roll it out, you're zooming in and out, and that works everywhere. And so rolling and zooming and everything all at the same time. Get used to doing that. Have a little go, because it's something you're going to have to get used to quickly, because it's what you'll be doing a lot with the software. What you'll also see, they've added a few things recently to sort of make life a little bit easier. See this little cube, it's known as a view cube. If you click it and drag it, so left click and drag, you can actually start spinning around. And what you're noticing as well is that it says, there's little words on there. This one says top. So if I left click that, it actually takes me to the left, to the left hand view, the right, and you can also go diagonal as well. So it's a useful little thing. Some of you may have done this already, and this may have, you may be panicking, you may have taken the screen all the way over here, lost everything and gone, oh my god, where is everything? I've broken a bit, what can I do? So if you press the little home button, each of these screens has a little home button. You press that, it resets your view. So don't worry, if you break it, you break it, just restart them thing. What you got to learn with any kind of creative software like this is to fail faster. Fail as fast as you can, because what you do is you learn from what you've done and you move on. So what do we do? This is a 3D modeling piece of software, so what can we do? Let's start by putting some actual objects into the scene. So on the right hand side here, you'll see words like box, cone, sphere, geosphere, all this kind of weird stuff. What I want you to do is click on the word box, and actually you'll see that your cursor has actually changed. It's more like a FPS kind of gun thing. But if you click and hold, you're dragging out the actual the shapes, the size of the shape there, and if you let go again, you can then drag the actual height of it. So you've got the width and the height, and then left click again, and that will go. What you will notice though is I'm still in create mode, and you can tell because the box is still highlighted in blue and I've still got this cursor. So if I left click again, I'm actually going to make another box, and whoops, I'm making boxes. So what I need to do is right click, and that will get me out of that mode. I can then just click on these and hit delete, and they will go. So we've got a box. That's awesome. Like, you've made an object. This is like, Xbox One quality here. What we can do with this is actually you can now see what I was talking about earlier with the different perspectives. So perspective view here, you can actually see this 3D shape, and I can use my little view cube and zoom around. I can scroll in and out on with my wheel, and I can pan around it. That's fantastic. You can see this object. One quick thing I'll say to do as well, if you press F4, it's a bit difficult to see on here, but that will give you your edges. And it's really useful to see your edges, because they're the things we're going to need to manipulate later, but we'll get there. And here, so now you can see on the left hand side, this is if we were looking at it from the left, we can see it's here. We're looking at it from the front, and obviously from the top, if we were flying over as a bird, it looks very different to how it is on the left. Great. What you've also got is a way of manipulating this. Don't worry, yes, you've created this shape, but it does not have to stay like this at all. It can be changed into a whole manner of things. This one square here can be turned into a car. That's later on. See here, it's like this little blue rainbow thing, half rainbow. So it's the modify panel. And if I click on that, it'll then show me the parameters of what I've clicked on. So if I clicked away, that little thing's gone. If I click on it again, I can now see these values. And here, I can actually drag this and actually start manipulating the shape, changing its width, changing its length, and changing its height. Very useful, really, really cool. Don't worry about the actual, well, you can change the values of them. At the moment there, it's generic value. When we're a little bit further on down in the course, we'll actually look at changing this to things like centimeters, meters, inches, so you can be a bit more precise when you actually take it into the game engine. But for now, don't worry too much. That's fine. So there's, we're starting a wall or something there. Length segments, width segments, and height segments, again, very useful later. If I click on this once, what you should notice, it's slightly faded in now, is that it's sort of cut the shape in two. I've got two segments now. I can't do anything with it at this point because I haven't told it how to do it, but I've effectively just put a seam in there for later on, which will allow me to sort of select this face and this face as two separate objects. And that's really useful. It's really useful in planning to know where your cuts and seams are. And again, do a width segment, and that's cut it over here. And then a height segment, and I'll cut it that way. Don't worry about that too much for now, but it's a good thing to know. What I want you to do is to now start placing in the different shapes. So the cone, the sphere, the geosphere. Have a mess about with them. So remember, drag it in, look at what difference they do. Actually then go onto their modifier and see what you can actually make with that. And place them all in, mess with what you can. Even a cylinder can turn into something very different. A cone can be used as a nose or something, or like a part of a rocket ship, I don't know, or a gun. There's a lot of cool things that can be done with this. One little thing, don't start doing this, don't put your sides up to like 10 million because it will break the software, or just lag quite a lot, and you don't need that many verts and polys. And the same with the height, you don't need that many, but it's fine. Play about with it. What I want you to do then, so with these basic shapes, actually no, you can't yet, that's fine. Leave it like this, and then we'll come back and I'll tell you how to move things around. So yeah, drag everything into the scene and we'll see what happens. We'll see you next time.